Chris!
Heath.
Gather round. Gather round. This is going to be a good one.
I think so. And I have to give you a little credit right off the bat, Heath. I was not adequately pumped up for that Travis Scott Fortnite concert segment you brought last episode. Because I was thinking, okay, that's kind of cool. But then I looked up clips right after we recorded, and that was super cool.
It is like, okay, so I watched Marvel's Avengers Endgame last night, actually.
Okay, for the first time?
No. Just a rewatch because I was bored. Ant-Man, who is also turns big.
Yes.
Much like Travis Scott. He also moves really slow. And yeah, it doesn't sound like anything to the listener. But once you see it, is that your main takeaway, though? How cool the production was?
The production value was the takeaway. Like all those custom animations the Epic team had to put in there just for this one-time event that they're never going to reuse. It had to be like a huge labor of love to make Travis Scott that big.
If only it was an artist that you cared about.
Right, yeah, that would make it even cooler in my mind. But even as is, I'm pretty impressed.
Well, good. I'm glad that you appreciate what I bring to the table as far as virtual concerts concerned.
Yeah, because those are the only concerts we can attend right now.
Yeah, soon enough. Maybe when this episode airs, though, yeah.
We can hope. How are you?
I'm good. This is Mobius Tunes, everyone.
Yes, Mobius Tunes, your favorite video game podcast. This is a milestone, episode 40. And we're recording on, what's the date today?
It's the 17th.
May 17th, 2020. Hanging in there. And should we dive into what we've been playing, Heath?
Yeah. You got something.
I've got something marinating. You seem to be very hesitant to jump in.
Well, okay. What is the listener most looking forward to as soon as they hit play on this episode? Did they just listen to episode 39? Yeah. How many podcasts do you go episode back to back?
Oh, because you have like a backlog to get through?
Yeah.
For me, that rarely happens.
Okay.
I'm always jumping around.
What about the average listener?
The average listener?
Are they also jumping around? Probably.
I would think so, unless they got behind for some reason.
Yeah.
Like they don't have a commute right now.
Right. So, well, we'll stick to the plan, though. Obviously, we got to talk about Thronebreaker.
Yes, we do have to talk about Thronebreaker. Because as I alluded to last week, I was sick and tired of AC Odyssey after overindulging. So thankfully, I have my secondary game I'm switching back and forth between, which is Thronebreaker, The Witcher Tales, which I've played a lot more of. I have so many things to talk about this game that make me very happy.
You basically have it down to a science, right? You could probably teach a class right after Reggie and show everybody how the ins and outs of card-based combat.
Yeah, it's right up my alley. There was one statement I was going to make the first time I mentioned Thronebreaker. Thronebreaker, for the uninformed, it's a spin-off Witcher game that is primarily a strategic card battling game. So no real-time combat or anything. And you don't play as Geralt of Rivia either. You play as Queen Meve, the regent of Lyria and Rivia. And I was going to make the offhanded comment last time we brought Thronebreaker to the podcast that it's a lot like Banner Saga. I think I got sidetracked before I could actually say that. And that comparison, I'm really glad it wasn't just me thinking how similar those two games are, because I actually found
the game devs
inside of Thronebreaker, there is a pretty blatant Banner Saga Easter egg.
Oh, fun.
That I stumbled across.
I love that.
I'm glad CD Projekt Red, this big studio, paid homage to this small team, Team Stoic, that made Banner Saga. Because otherwise, they might have maybe flown under the radar.
What's the size comparison? When I think of large game devs, I think of the Rockstars and the Infinity Wards and the...
Sure.
Yeah. Which are hundreds and hundreds of staff.
Right.
Stoic is a couple dozen?
I think, I could be wrong, I think it's sub 10.
Wow, yeah, yeah.
They, to fund their games, they go to Kickstarter to do it.
Yeah. Oh, and so that's very cool of CD Projekt.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're hanging and banging with Cyberpunks and Keanu Reeves.
They're about to be a very big deal. That's right. So the parallels between the games, there's the isometric view that you walk around between battles, and there's resource management where you have to spend money or wood to get upgrades or make morally ambiguous decisions, which I want to pay props to Thronebreaker for its decisions, Witcher, I think they've always handled decisions in a very difficult, tricky manner. And in this one, in general, Heath, I like to be the goody two-shoes protagonist when I'm playing a video game. Mass Effect, I went full Paragon. Never even touched the renegade options.
Never indulging in like the evil character comes up to you and is like, "Psst, Commander Shepard, we can get an extra space booster on it for our ship if we steal it from these poor people who are using it to light their homes, or let's do it."
Yeah, I can't bring myself to do it. I need to take that moral high ground. But in Thronebreaker, very often I find myself being convinced to go to the harsher, more cruel route, just because credit where credit is due. So this is a game taking place in like a very brutal war. They do a good job justifying to me that if I show mercy here, if I take the moral high ground, I'm pretty sure it's going to come back and bite me in the ass.
Oh, because the evil guy, the guy that's breaking all the thrones, is like, "Hey, oh, Queen Meave, oh, you're so nice. Please spare me." Even though he's going to go back and burn the crops or something. All I know in this world is that everybody's like either a farmer or a knight.
There are many farmers and knights. You're not wrong about that. But yeah, so I am very often making pretty brutal choices, and I don't feel awful about it because sometimes, you know how in Telltale games it'll say, "Clementine remembered that."
Yeah, oh yeah.
Anytime you make a choice in Thronebreaker, a little message pops up in the bottom left that says, "You've selected one evil in favor of another." So it's all about choosing what you deem is the lesser evil. There's not an idyllic happy ending scenario to choose from.
Right, because it's a war, so I imagine the end of the game is either this color team wins or that color team wins.
It's the kind of thing where a decision you made a couple chapters ago will have repercussions down the line in unforeseen ways, potentially.
Okay.
Something where you thought you got off scot-free, it'll inevitably come up later down the road that, no, there were some consequences to that decision.
Cool.
Yeah, it is cool. The gameplay, I didn't give it credit to the fact that they mixed things up pretty well. This is half a puzzle game, half a card battling game. Because, card battling, I'm trying to get the higher total on my side, and then I win. But they're not always doing that. That would get kind of stale if every single encounter you had throughout the entire game was just the same stale meta of, I'm going to get the higher total. Instead, they have puzzles, and the puzzles introduce some really nice variety. For example, this game simulates a stealth mission with cards. There's the playing board, and it is full of just dark alleyway cards. And you've got your little rogue stealth guy in the top left of the board, and he's trying to get to the bottom right of the board. And there's 4 sentries. And instead of like a battling game, it's a turn-based, I am moving through these card corridors to the exit destination while avoiding these sentries. And I have a couple cards I can play that will do things like turn the direction a sentry is facing around temporarily, or waste time so that they walk by my location. It is a puzzle stealth board game, kind of, at least for that one scenario. And then they never return to it because it's just that one puzzle. Or it'll be something else weird, like in this situation, you're given this exact set of cards. You need to make it so you reduce all the opponent's forces to exactly 1 health. And that way we're going to be able to interrogate them for information instead of just wiping the enemy force.
Persona 5, yeah.
Yeah, like a holdup in Persona 5. So this game has puzzles in it that are a welcome addition because of all the gameplay variety they bring with it. So the puzzles are sweet. The actual card battling is really different from most card games you'd think of, because I don't know if this is just me, but if I'm thinking of a digital card game, I'm thinking of like Hearthstone, where you have a hand, you draw a card every turn, you slap down a minion, and then once in a while minions will bash against each other and do damage. And then eventually you try to kill the enemy spellcaster. That is not at all what this version of Gwent in Thronebreaker plays like. At the very start of every match,
you have all the cards that you will ever have in your hand?
More or less. You draw 10 cards, and then you know what mulliganing is, right?
Yeah, do-over.
Yeah. How many mulligans would you expect to get if you were playing a card game?
One per... okay, so wait, is a turn playing a card? So, I mean, you got to get one undo. Yeah, 1 to 3.
Gotcha. Which is pretty standard, I think. You did a good job summarizing that. But in Thronebreaker, right off the bat, you get 6 mulligans because this initial hand of 10 cards is kind of all you have to play with.
Sorry, mulligan meaning like a hand refresh?
Yeah, mulligan,
I thought we were talking about, I done goofed.
Gotcha. It's kind of like that. Mulliganing in this game is you throw away a card you don't really want, and then you get a card to replace it off the top of your deck. You have to do that 6 times right at the start of every match. So you can kind of like... It's a random card draws, yes, but you have a fair amount of control over what your initial hand is because you don't get any more draws, and you have to like plan out how you're going to use those 10 cards across all 3 rounds of a card game. And there's some bluffing that comes into play because it's 3 rounds. It's first one to win 2 out of 3.
Oh, and so you can keep something in your pocket, and then your opponent's going to be like, all I've seen are these pikemen. Can't wait to throw out this thing that's vulnerable to the thing that you've been concealing.
Right. And if I'm so satisfied round 1 of a game of Thronebreaker that I whip out my massive combo, and I am now ahead by like 80 points, the opponent AI will just pass and the round is over. It doesn't matter that I demolished them. I just got one round won, and now that we're on more or less an equal playing field again, and they can bring out their big combo the next round.
Wow. What do you mean they just pass and then
they
get away with it?
You can.
I know you can pass, but like,
yeah.
So you're saying
it's kind of like folding in poker. You can fold in Thronebreaker, and then the round is over. It doesn't matter how thoroughly you were being trounced that round.
Okay.
It's a fresh restart for the next round.
Oh.
So
okay.
Gwent is pretty unique in the digital card game landscape, and I like that. Final couple things. This was jaw-dropping when I saw it. Clearly, Thronebreaker taking some inspiration from Banner Saga, paying some homage to other popular digital card games. But I came across this inn. This is an Easter egg that I'm going to kind of spoil. It almost saddens me to say this out loud on the podcast, because if you are a Hearthstone fan and you think you're going to play Thronebreaker, just skip ahead 2 minutes and stumble across this by yourself. But there's this totally optional side quest. It's on a snowy peak, and there's an inn. There's this dwarf standing outside, and he's
like, "Hey, Queen Maeve, oh, it's freezing out here. You gotta come inside. I'm from Hearthstone."
Yeah, he welcomes you in to take a seat by his hearth. And
hey, Queen Maeve, hey, oh, you want some stone soup?
And he says, "Oh, want to play a round of Gwent?" So you're actually playing Gwent in this situation.
Okay. So this is the full circle thing that I was getting.
They're playing
really
Gwent
excited
for real instead of it being a metaphor for combat. And he says, "Oh, but in these parts, we play with some house rules around here." And then you enter the match. And for this one throwaway optional encounter, CD Projekt Red made an entire custom deck, fully new artwork, fully new mechanics. They jury-rigged the Gwent engine to simulate a Hearthstone match for this one throwaway encounter.
Meaning that whereas previous you didn't have like your portrait at the bottom that represents your health, and then the timer in the center kind of thing.
Right. You're having your mana supply. You have mana now, which you don't usually have in Gwent, and it's growing every round like in Hearthstone. You get a card draw every turn. You have the opposing spellcaster who you're trying to reduce his health down to 0, and all the cards in your deck are parodies of real Hearthstone cards.
Okay, cool. So it's the same. Your grunts from the Witcher world are the grunts from the Hearthstone, and they're matching poses, and that's fun.
Yeah, and they're using the same mechanics. I haven't played Hearthstone in years, but I recognize almost all of them, so they're pretty iconic ones. They've got like Ragnaros in there, who's the big legendary fire guy, and they've got the dwarf who, if you hit him, he spawns another dwarf, which was a broken strategy until like that got patched out of Hearthstone. But that's present here in Thronebreaker.
Oops.
And it was a riot to just stumble across that, having no idea that that was in the game. So that might be like the best Easter egg I've seen.
Oh, in this game?
In any game? Because like they made a whole mechanical system out of it. And this is just for me, but it was kind of nostalgic to play Hearthstone after many years and to see it so faithfully recreated.
Yeah, I'll say it's the most devoted Easter egg.
Yeah, it wasn't like a low effort
yeah.
reference of some sort. It was just, we went all in on this.
Cool.
So nothing but praise for Thronebreaker, except I've got 2 nitpicks. The more damning of the 2. I've been playing it for a while now. I'm at around the 30-hour mark. And I know roughly...
You've beaten the games.
I have not beaten the game.
How do you play a card game for more than... What are you doing at the 30th hour? It's like, these barbarians took our wheat again.
The story goes places.
All
it's
right. We're not talking about dragon. Oh, do you? Queen Maeve walks into a cave. It's very dark, so she has to light her torch. She lights her torch. It illuminates a dragon's face, and he's all like, "Rawr!" And then it kind of like Final Fantasy dissolves into like, dun, 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 dun. And then the dragon has his own deck, and he's like, brah, brah, and then he play, and then you do a cool combo, and he passes.
You know, you're more right.
No.
You're more right than you're wrong.
No, surely all of your opponents are human beings.
No, there is an option to fight a dragon.
How's his mana management?
This, like I said, most of the time you're not literally playing it. It's supposed to be a metaphor.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Except in the Hearthstone reference when you do play a card game.
Okay. I haven't looked at this game enough, so every time I think of it, it just changes.
It is very like hard to pin down.
So
I
at the
guess.
30th hour,
Yeah.
you've slayed the dragon. Surely.
That is, you can go either way on that.
Wait, aren't dragons supposed to be smart in the Witcher world?
Yes, he can speak to you.
Yeah. He's like, hey, Queen Maeve. Everyone in the universe has this voice. Hey, you want to play Skyrim? Oh, they do a Skyrim Easter egg.
There might be one. I don't know. I don't think just having a dragon makes it a Skyrim Easter egg. I vaguely know I'm pretty close to the end, but I'd say at about the 60% mark through the game, the deck I was using kind of stopped changing. It's fun when you're like tinkering with it and improving it, and
there's new rock, paper, scissors to discover.
There's new strategies to try out. I'm kind of locked in at this point where I've kind of
got those OP archers.
Yeah, I've made it as good as I anticipate it's going to get. Mm-hmm. So it's starting to get kind of stale when I'm not mixing up my deck anymore, and I just use it the same way in every encounter. And you could argue it's kind of my fault for not being more experimental, but when you find something that works, why try to fix it? So I guess you could criticize it for not throwing enough wrenches in my plans to force me to adapt. The other thing, this is the most nitpicky of nitpicks possible. There's like a pretty rudimentary skill tree in this game that usually it unlocks like new cards for you.
Draw 2, even harder.
Yeah, or like you can add more cards to your deck, things like that. One upgrade is increase Maeve's movement speed.
Yeah, you mentioned this. I was about to say.
I've mentioned this.
That's just a quality of life thing that ought to be unlocked from the front. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So this quote-unquote upgrade you can get, which is also, they don't even make it fun. It's increased Maeve's movement speed by 5%.
20%. Okay.
5%.
Wow. Cancer.
And then the upgraded version is 15%.
Oh my god.
So it's barely noticeable. There's nothing time sensitive happening on this overworld map. So it doesn't actually grant you any benefit. Like you said, it's just a quality of life thing. This should not be an upgrade in a skill tree. This should be a setting in the options menu. It feels like they just ran out of ideas for new upgrades in the skill tree.
Hey, Andrej, what else should we put in this Thronebreaker? I don't know. Make Queen Maeve's movement speed. You can increase it. Okay, so we ought to make her very slow to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
canonically it makes sense because she wears big boots and they're hard to get around in.
Right. Since there's nothing time sensitive, why would you care if she moves slightly faster? The only reason you might care is if by default they make you a little annoyingly slow.
Okay, in the overworld, Queen Meave is the only character that moves. That
you control, yeah.
Okay, because I was wondering. Yeah, you said time sensitive. I imagine just some kind of what are they called? Satyrs?
Okay.
Yeah, I imagine like this satyr character who's like, and then takes a card from you.
Yeah.
And walks away in the overworld, but just stays out of your radius.
Slightly out.
Yeah.
And then you can't get your card back until you catch him.
And CD Projekt Red is like, perfect. Everyone, the feature everybody wants.
Unfortunately, everyone else is stationary, I believe.
Okay.
So that does not come into play. So those nitpicks aside, I am really liking Thronebreaker. That's all I have to say this time. Probably will have it finished by next episode.
Oh my gosh. So like 60 hours in.
No. I think it's probably going to be like a 40-hour game.
Killed everything that moves.
It's pretty lengthy for a card game, like you said. Surprisingly so.
Cool. And again, we recommend this to all you Witcher fans, as well as all of you strategy, because, Justin wants us to recommend games to him, and he won't take Inside as a recommendation for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, it costs money, so he's out.
Yeah.
Also recommended to Banner Saga fans for the obvious callbacks.
Yeah.
But that's what I've been playing, so we should probably transition to you, Heath.
Yes. My game playing experience starts, as it should, with the Epic Games Store. So they started a new promotion. Previously, they were just giving free games out on the reg, but now they're doing this every Thursdays thing. And the kind of games that the Epic Games Store has given away, they're kind of like Enter the Gungeon, Just Cause 4, like these minimal appeal, or no, okay, I don't want to dog on Enter the Gungeon like that. These either indie darlings or aged AAA.
Yeah, AAAs of yesteryear.
Yeah. AAA stands for aged, antiquated activity. Okay. So, that includes Just Cause 4. What other games have I gotten?
They gave away, Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Yeah, I passed on that. Anyway, so I was expecting just, similar titles with this new Thursday promotion. They gave away GTA 5 for the first one.
That's
free.
It was very surprising.
That's, Chris, that's like a mover and a shaker.
Yeah.
It's still selling.
Right.
In 2020.
It's still on the sales charts. So Epic Games presumably paid a pretty penny to Rockstar for that giveaway.
I don't play games without the Epic Games Store. And that's, if you want to talk Mobius Tunes character arcs, you go back to episode 2, which is called Epic Games versus Steam.
Yeah.
And you listen to that fine wine, how well it's aged. Because I'm like, this just sounds all right. And then I wouldn't download the store for another dozen episodes.
Right.
But now I'm like, oh, Epic Games, daddy, give me a Thursday, can't come soon enough. So I played a little GTA 5. Granted, I beat it. You put it down. Man, that game I didn't feel this as much in Red Dead Redemption 2.
Uh-huh.
Headshots are fun. So let's talk about gameplay. Card games are fun. Racing games are Sports games are cool. Shooty games are, I don't know if I've just been conditioned to love them. And you too.
You too
have done a shoot.
I like pointing and clicking on things, yes.
Yeah. The headshots in GTA 5, and I was thinking of a fun bit where it's like, hey, which of these games has headshots? And I would pick one that you wouldn't, Thomas Was Alone, just kind of a bit like that, and try to find very obscure minor moments
where there for some reason you shoot one time.
Yeah, be it a water gun, and just Do
you think Stanley Parable has a headshot in it?
So that was kind of my thought process, and It would be labor intensive to try to drag it out, but I love the headshots in GTA 5. I love them.
The way they feel.
Yeah.
The way they reward you.
Yeah, just kind of the flash of the screen and then the red crosshairs.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And because like, why do video games die?
I don't know why.
When you get all of the in-game currency and there's nothing you can't buy. Red Dead, I have everything I could possibly purchase. GTA 5 on the console when I first got it. I remember I had the case. We got it. We were at like a basketball game at school. And this was in high school. I didn't give a crap about the basketball. So I was just reading the back of it. Just being like, wow, I can't believe. There was a time in my life where I would not be allowed to play this game.
Yeah.
Back in 2013.
That's when GTA 5 first came out. That's what you're saying?
Yeah. So it was iffy whether or not I could get my hands on it, but I did, and so I was just lovingly reading the back of it. I got all of the money when I played the console version because you could just look up how to game the stock market because there's an in-game stock market.
Right. Not turnips in that one.
No. Unfortunately, they ought to patch that. So I put down GTA 5 on my Xbox soon after that. I'm not going to game the stock market on the PC version. I'm trying to find some longevity here, even though the replay value of GTA 5 is as you'd expect. Some of the beginning racing things are, and I said, what did I say to start with this? Racing games are cool. They're not.
No, you actually said sports games were cool. Racing was eh.
Okay, yes, I firmly endorse what I just said. There's this one mission where Franklin, just to introduce you to because the world, the kind of characters that he interacts with, there's this addict woman who's like a neighbor who recruits Franklin to do a tow truck mission. And that is boring on the second time around.
It was boring on the first time around.
Yeah. I mean, I was still trying to like pick my favorite radio station during that mission, so I think that's what saved me. But there are some missions that I dread, but I kind of want to see how GTA 5 has aged and the gameplay, like the shooting is the most fun. Not running over pedestrians. And I want to get back to that part where you have to make decisions on the heists and like play through things that I didn't. I put like 4 hours into it.
I just wanted to point out some potential hypocrisy.
What's wrong?
How you were poo-pooing, Epic Games releases this semi-aged Just Cause 4. People don't really care, but GTA 5, despite being the higher profile release, that's much older than Just Cause 4.
Right. It's older, and then but it's not. It's aged better.
Okay.
That was my stipulation of yes, Just Cause is newer than GTA, even though I said it was because it's out of the limelight. I feel like GTA 5 is as much in the limelight as Minecraft, even though Minecraft came out back when we were in diapers.
Because GTA 5 has huge legs on it, while Just Cause 4 has been skipping leg day since it came out.
Right. Who's the main character in Just Cause again?
I think its name is like Rico or something.
Yeah. Rico's got to hit the gym.
Would you say you preferred GTA 5's shooting mechanics to Red Dead Redemption 2, which you also played recently?
Firmly.
Really?
Firmly.
Okay.
Yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2's shooting mechanics are plinko, revolver, like, pow, pow. The shootouts in RDR2, they're sometimes more long distance.
Yes.
Like if I have a rifle.
Yeah, because the city landscape of GTA is more close quarters than the wide, sprawling open fields of Red Dead.
Right, and that might be why it impacts me less. Even mowing down guys, dual-wield revolver, you would think that's the hypest gameplay.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's like the screen not flashing enough for me. I think it's just like, I'm a cat with a laser pointer, and the laser pointer that is GTA 5 is just that much more enticing.
I think I might have the opposite opinion here.
Why? You think
with,
GTA 5 is kind of mundane and Red
with
Dead's
the caveat that I haven't touched GTA 5 in like 5 years, so my memory is murky at best.
Maybe it's just the GTA's shooting is more arcadey.
That could be. I like the kind of feeling like I am actually shooting an old-timey weapon.
I wouldn't want the gunplay in Red Dead to be like just streaks of lights, lens flare, blah, blah, you know?
When my gun jams in Red Dead, I actually feel...
What?
When your condition is like abysmal because you haven't cleaned it with gun oil.
Why would you not clean all of your guns all the time?
Sometimes Arthur's a busy guy. And
I've never... I put like 40 hours into that game. Are you telling me Arthur's like, dadgummit, and he slaps it? You know?
Yeah, that little...
How does it work?
That little misstep, that little maintenance you have to do kind of makes me feel more immersed, I guess.
Explain what the gun jamming is.
Oh,
what happens?
You'll click the trigger to fire,
and it'll just
and it won't, and then you'll have to like click it a couple times before it does.
That's fascinating.
If you're using some really shoddy weapons, then yes.
I never got to that point. I was always getting better weapons,
and then your damage will also drop off if you're using shoddy
accuracy,
weapons.
Yeah. Wow.
I guess
I hope there was like, wait, pick the most pivotal moment where you're interrogating Micah on the mountaintop, and he's like, you couldn't just let it die, and then your character is like, click, click, oh no.
That would be spectacular. I don't think that probably works in that pivotal scene, though.
No. So that's all I had to say is GTA 5 has some poor replay value, but there are some stylistic choices that I really endorse if you're going for that kind of game. Chris, you're about to ask me how much further I've gotten in Animal Crossing.
No, I don't think so.
No, you're not. No, but you're going to get it anyway. It's been horribly routine.
I thought the routine in Animal Crossing was the appeal.
I know, yes. Yeah, it is. But horribly for you is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. I see.
Even though I doubt there's anything super exciting that could happen in Animal Crossing, that you would lean into the mic and be like, say what? You know, we had a new villager arrive. Its name was Stitches.
Ooh, I like his design.
Stitches is a Danganronpa.
Kind of, yeah. A much more brightly colored one.
Yeah. So we kicked him to the curb. He's not on the island.
You don't like that look?
No, I don't like that. He's a macabre teddy bear.
Uh-huh.
With multicolored appendages for all you audio listeners.
Now, are these all recurring characters in the Animal Crossing universe, or are these unique to New Horizons?
You see these low poly models? Those are from previous installments.
Okay.
So Eugene, who's like a rock star koala,
yeah.
If he shows up, he's getting the red carpet treatment.
How big is this cast?
Massive. Hundreds.
Hundreds?
Like
I didn't realize
150 maybe?
it was like Pokemon.
Yeah, it's Pokemon. Gotta catch
10 at a time.
the 10 that you want. Yeah, so anyway, Animal Crossing will continue as needed. And Baba Is You. That was another game that I brought to the show.
That's a game I do want an update on.
Yes. I so wished that I would be able to say I beat one level since our last recording.
Your clout would be massive if that was the case.
If I could just get the number of levels completed to just around 75. That would be progress. And then the next recording, I'll beat another level. I've since watched the Game Maker's Toolkit video. I got spoiled on something I did not want to be spoiled on. I regret my decisions.
Oh.
Never. What did I say in the Obra Dinn episode?
You would rather
DBYC, die before you cheat.
Yeah.
So I don't really think of it as cheating watching that video, but I did get spoiled. And I've since logged on to Baba is Hint, which is a hint wiki that you can. It's a spoiler-free guide. You can solve these puzzles, and I'm going to show you. I hope that you play this game at some point, just for the novelty of it.
Sure.
The way it's oriented, it's got these hints that you can only read once you highlight the text.
Ooh.
And it's beautifully structured. There'll be gentle nudges and specific hints, like exactly what you need, but not a step-by-step. It'll be, Baba will never cross the lake. Find another way to get there.
It seems like it's kind of like if you have that friend who has already played the game and you bring a certain level to their attention and you're like, hey, what should I be doing here? And they know how to ask the correct probing questions to get you to come to your own revelation. This seems like that, and that's super handy.
Yes, but I've the will to brute smarts this game is dwindling.
I see.
I am so I would be more motivated to study this game if it were a college course and my grade depended on it. And I'm so smart. I'll be the first to tell you that. If someone tells me that they beat Baba as you, more power to you. But unless I have like an audience and we're getting hype around it, I don't see myself ever beating this game. It's ironic. The map is an island. If you talk about deserted island games, this is probably a good contender because you will have endless and poor replayability, but it will last you a lifetime.
Yeah, you might actually die before you cheat.
Yeah. Well done.
It seems intimidating, but it also seems like it has some really unique, one-of-a-kind ideas in there, so I'll probably check it out.
Yeah, maybe, if it goes on sale.
Right.
Lastly.
Oh, you have more.
Two quick things, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about Old World.
Oh, the knockoff Civilization game.
The very same. It is in early access. I said it was going to come out in the summer 2020.
I think so.
Rapidly approaching. It's in early access for like $30, which is still kind of steep. I was watching a streamer play it. It definitely lacks the charming nature and the regalness.
The regalness. You'll have to explain that.
Of Civilization 5. Civilization 5 has this cloud on high, stand the test of time aesthetic that is so
iconic,
polished. You know, I mean, iconic just because I've nearly played it a decade.
Yeah,
I love the art style, for lack of a better word, of Civilization 5. And that's partly why I bounced off Civ 6 so hard, because it's like Play-Doh in comparison. And Old World, which is a damn near rip of Civ 5, is also a little, it lost that polish, that gleam, that Metropolis, the color scheme. I noticed it significantly. And you'll take a look at this maybe. But Old World does have some quality of life features that Civ doesn't. There is an undo button.
Whoa.
Where you been? That being said, Old World is still piquing my interest. I feel a journalistic responsibility to play this game. So
give it its fair shot.
Yeah. Just not while it's $30 in early access.
Sure.
So we're keeping that on the back burner.
I have one anecdote relating to Old World.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. So one podcast I regularly listen to had the developers of Old World on for an interview.
Okay.
And I thought to myself, Heath has thoroughly de-hyped me for this game. I'll just skip through it. So I didn't listen to the interview.
Oh, I de-hyped you?
Yeah, you were pretty down on this game the first time we brought it up.
I was hyper critical about them trying to steal Sid Meier's lunch.
I see.
Because Sid Meier's is Bay. And I made the same comparison with Dishonored The Witcher, and if imagine
you'd imagined knockoff Dishonored.
You would love a knockoff Dishonored.
I would.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say I was down on it. I'd be curious to hear what those devs are saying. Because I kind of feel, I in my head canon, they were slighted by Sid Meier's, and they're trying to they're trying to make bank off of his dime, or
Once upon a time, they were like a close-knit group of friends.
back in Civ 4.
Yeah. And they splintered off, and Sid Meier got all the fame.
Yeah, they basically left Apple before Steve Jobs made the iPhone.
I see. Well, if you want, I can send you the podcast episode and timestamp.
Yeah. So that was Old World. And then very lastly, I'm sorry, I was watching a Netflix show called Dead to Me. It was recommended by my girlfriend. During quarantine, we had the idea of maybe watching a show together. Chris, have you ever watched a show together, apart, with a person?
Oh.
Actually, have you ever watched a show together with anybody?
With anyone? I mean,
I'm
yes.
not talking about like, hey, did you see My Hero? Yeah, I love Shigunda.
So you're saying like you watch something at the same time with another individual, but you're physically apart.
Yeah. Like, I can't wait to see what happens in episode 2. I'll watch it tomorrow, as will you. And we'll reconvene.
And you guys like hit play on the stream at the same time?
No, it doesn't have to be that synchronous. It's just like by Thursday. Did you watch episode? Can you believe he's not dead? Oh my God.
I don't think I have.
Okay, I would not recommend it.
I see.
There are people who do this.
Yeah, Netflix has a whole feature about it. It's like a Netflix party, I think.
It's on the desktop. I tried to do this with Bailey, although she had already watched the complete first season of this show called Dead to Me. The premise of the show: a woman's husband is killed in a hit and run. She attends a grief Alcoholics Anonymous type thing. She befriends another woman. End of the first episode, that other woman was the bitch who hit him. She killed him in the hit and run.
Why were you speaking with that cadence?
This is how I describe the plot elements of this Netflix series, Dead to Me. It's like stilted Obama. Anyway, it's a fun show because I am a genius and I know how to write television. And I'm literally just sending Bailey clips of me predicting elements of the show, from lines of dialogue to staging to camera position, and this is going to be cut. So that's a Netflix show that I've been watching.
Nice. Okay. Well, thank you for that, Heath. It was very informative, and you are an excellent contributor to the show. And I'm not being...
Let's take this break already.
Yeah, okay. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we have a new but familiar segment to debut. See you then. Did you notice that light went off?
Yeah, I did.
Is that something that usually happens?
My family is home.
Okay. And that's our signal that they're home?
Yeah.
Okay.
As soon as... Yeah. Do you not have your lights rigged to...
As soon as they cross the threshold, that light...
How are you supposed to stop your illicit activities if you don't know when they arrive?
I don't know. My illicit activities are usually stopped. So this is the point of the podcast.
Point of the project. This whole podcast has been a big project.
It is a big project.
It's a big group project, and one of the students is pulling more weight than the other.
Are you throwing me under the bus here?
Damn.
Anyway, this is the point in the podcast where we usually discuss some news headlines for you, but we thought we'd mix things up a little bit, try to present the news in a new format that we are, title pending, going to call Headline Dining. This is where Heath and I will bring a couple spicy entrees to discuss. These are the news headlines we think will foster some interesting discussion. That's what makes them spicy. There's something to pick apart there. And then we'll wrap up and conclude with some tasty sides. These are news headlines that are worth mentioning, but maybe we don't have a ton to say about them. We're going to sit down at the meal here and dig in very shortly.
I'm putting my napkin in my shirt like the fancy way.
Yeah, I am having a...
I picked the one culinary etiquette idiom.
I am putting my silverware in the proper positions. Here, Heath, let me pour you some ice water.
Glug, glug, glug.
So, now that you're refreshed and ready to eat, what spicy headlines do you have for us?
You want to talk Xbox?
Yes, let's have our first spicy entree be the Xbox Series X.
Sexbox.
First look at gameplay. This was an inside Xbox stream that Microsoft hyped up a bit just because, on this stream in particular, they were going to show the first games running on the Xbox Series X, Microsoft's new next-generation console. As it would be expected, this got people very excited. This was about a 30-minute clip. Heath, you sat down to watch it, as did I. And what were your initial impressions?
It's going to be a satisfactory console. The games that they show off during these shows are always these launch day games that I don't really care for. There's very few successful launch day games. Breath of the Wild. Fortnite. No, Fortnite's nothing. Yeah, I look at these games and I go, those exist solely to be launch titles. And I defy you to come up with another good launch title game.
The definitive one besides Breath of the Wild is like Halo Combat Evolved for the original Xbox.
Right, those two.
Those two are the ones that come to mind. Yeah, very, very often.
Otherwise, you have Rise,
Son of Rome, or like Killzone Shadowfall.
Or Sunset Overdrive.
That was like a year later. Knack was a PS4 launch title.
I adore Knack.
Or like 1-2 Switch.
Yeah.
So yeah, launch lineups are rarely a console's best foot forward. They're kind of just there to hit the deadline. But these games, we don't know if they're all necessarily launch titles or just launch window games.
Be that as it may, they need not be mentioned.
Almost, yeah. We were both considering delaying the recording of the previous podcast episode to hit this live stream so that we could talk about it. And I'm glad we didn't because, man, this did nothing for my excitement levels on this next generation.
What are you most excited for? The scary game or the other one?
So worth mentioning, it was advertised as like third-party games. So these aren't in-house Microsoft exclusives or anything.
These aren't Phil Spencer.
Right. These are just developers working on this game, and they're going to bring it to the Xbox. Presumably, they're going to bring it to many other platforms as well. And I thought both the selection of titles they decided to show at this very first gameplay reveal, the selection and the execution were both pretty lacking. Maybe I'm being too harsh here. I wouldn't call many of these AAA games. I would call them like AA games.
Yeah.
Because how many of those games these were like new IPs for the most part. The only thing recognizable was the pretty disappointing montage of Assassin's Creed Valhalla that was at the very end. Oh, they showed some like Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, but like you pointed out earlier, Heath, calling these gameplay, that would be embellishing a little bit. I think a lot of these games were running in-engine. It kind of looks like that.
But they're cutscenes.
Yeah, a lot of them were like either environmental shots or cutscenes.
And that's fine. I love a good cutscene. I don't care to see gameplay as a consumer. Well, as a consumer, I'll watch somebody else play it. So I guess I'm being hypocritical in that regard. But as far as like trailers go, I love a good cinematic.
Okay. I mean, I'm kind of with you.
Because all I care about is what I can bring to the show and be like, did you see when the alien robo slime came out?
Yeah. I'd say the advantage to gameplay is you probably walk away more informed.
Look at that HUD.
Yeah. So a lot of people were very upset at the kind of bait and switch going on where gameplay was sprinkled in, but it was a lot of, like you said, cinematic trailers and in-engine cutscenes and things like that. That wasn't what had me worried, Heath.
What has you worried, Chris? How big the console is? That's the joke about. You remember the tail end of the conference that cut to a guy and his refrigerator is dressed up to look like an Xbox?
Really?
Do you not know what I'm talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Chris, that was the best part of the show. Yeah.
That was in the live stream?
Yeah. There was a guy, the very last person in the clip you sent me. He's sitting in front of this, which is a refrigerator with an Xbox logo slapped in the top left to make it look like it's a 6-foot tall console. But carry on. What has you worried?
I want to see this through.
Yeah, so that was part of the leaning into the joke, which is fun.
Yeah. I'm really glad we spent the time to find
God
this.
damn, Chris, I told you to carry on. So,
Okay.
What has you worried?
What has me worried? Besides some maybe in-engine Hellblade 2 footage they showed at the Game Awards.
Senua's sequel.
Yes. Senua's...
No, I said it right.
Senua's
Saga,
yeah. Besides that, this is the first time we've ever gotten our eyeballs on something running on the Series X.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you make your debut a bunch of AA mid-budget efforts that, admittedly, I don't think too many people are going to care about?
No, this is just what they have to talk about in May.
Right, yeah. They're showing the games...
The best launch title is not going to be Vampires Masquerade Boogaloo.
All right, this is my doomsday scenario. I'm thinking that they showed what developers were telling them that, yes, we're going to be able to meet this launch window of yours. These are the games we're going to have prepared. And I'm thinking with development complications from working remotely and teams being separated with the COVID situation, I'm thinking there might not be a whole lot of software that's ready to ship on launch day. And pickings will be sparse. Like, why would you lead with, no offense to Scorn, but Scorn, this grotesque...
Drippy alien penis.
Yeah, it seems...
It was actually a penis.
Yeah. It was a title that seems... It could be great. It just seems like it has very niche appeal.
Yeah.
And, like, the whole tone of the different trailers they were showing, they were all very dark.
Oh, okay.
There was maybe one...
There was no Watam.
Yeah. Or this, like, bright memory, infinite first-person shooter that... Like, I don't want to diss these games, but they did nothing for my excitement levels. And for them to lead with this makes me feel like they don't have a whole lot of irons in the fire when it comes to that launch window. Because if they had the new Call of Duty, that's a third-party game you would want to show.
You're saying that Call of Duty is not going to come out in fall?
I'm saying it could be MIA.
Nah. And this console doesn't come out until holiday.
Yeah, it comes out holiday.
That gives Call of Duty enough time.
All right, so maybe I'm just being too pessimistic here. Also, just visually, I felt like a lot of these games would more or less feel right at home running on current generation platforms. Scorn was pretty visually impressive. That looked like a bit of a step up.
Very high-res dripping.
The drips could not have been more photorealistic. But a lot of it didn't seem like much of a step up. Which, for when you're showing the first look at next generation...
This is what the future is.
You'd think you'd lead with your, like, visual powerhouses, right? And I think many people have been saying this. This is going to be the smallest leap forward in visual fidelity we've seen in a console generation ever.
Diminishing
Just
returns.
because we're hitting those diminishing returns. That was a little sobering, I guess, for me. Just because, okay, this is the level we're at right now. It's not going to be even the 360 to Xbox One jump. It's going to be less than that, which I guess I shouldn't be too surprised about.
I'll tell you this. I will join you in the worry boat if come E3 time, they also have very little to show.
I see. They have said, I think it's July, they're going to show their first-party games. So I probably expect to see Halo Infinite at that one. Mm-hmm. So maybe they have some heavy hitters there, and this was just an appetizer, but I feel like when it comes to hyping up a new console, the appetizer should have more of a punch than this did.
You're saying that they put the... What's the phrase? They put the something in front of the cart.
The cart in front of the horse?
Yeah. Yeah?
Yeah, because normally a horse would pull the cart, but
yeah, but they're
this
like,
is reversed.
Come on, third-party games, send it out of the park.
It to me feels like an unforced error. If they had just not done this, I think they'd be ahead right now.
Fair enough. Yeah. This is kind of like if Apex Legends was like, we're working on something new.
So that was the gameplay reveal.
Spicy entree.
But I have, my heat tolerance has not been surpassed, Heath.
No.
Do you have anything to add to this meal?
No.
What? I thought you had a cool bingo card.
Oh, okay. You want to do that. Yeah, okay. I am an Assassin's Creed fan, as are you.
Yes.
This bingo card was a little more difficult to make because it seems Valhalla is taking a step in the right direction. I'm not just talking about the hidden blade. Because, okay, here was my research, right? I went on the Wikipedia page. I watched the trailer that was in the Xbox thing. And then I also looked through some of the Twitter. And that was my grounds for developing this bingo card. And I've tried to be as specific as possible. But it seems like this game is going to be good. They're bringing back social stealth. Rather than just hiding in a hay bale, you can also like pull the hood over your eyes and walk among crowds, because this game is going to be taking place in England, in Anglo-Saxon times.
Right.
You'll be walking around York and Nottingham and London, and there will be crowds and thatched roofs that you can run across and hidden blades, so it's not going to be weird when you go into a combat sequence. So I am so on board for this.
Okay.
Which is why I couldn't be super bitter in the production of this bingo card. So I have a few squares that I'm going to need your help to fill in. Because you are how far into Assassin's Creed Odyssey?
90 hours, which is
good Lord,
substantial.
So we have to pool our experience. Off the bat, something they're totally going to overlook. I think that the recruitment notification will still be obnoxiously large. In Assassin's Creed Odyssey, everyone remembers this. Every time you lend a helping hand to a random grunt and he joins your crew, it took up a third of the screen, the dead center, where I was trying to look past the glowing decal to look at a guard who might turn his way toward me. They're not going to fix that for this game. They have too many committee-like decisions to make. Number 2, the combat tutorial is going to start in Norway. I said this game takes place in England, much like in Odyssey, where you play as Leonidas and you 300 Spartan kill the Persians. This one's going to have you back in Norway because, according to the Wikipedia page, it's 873. How do you say years? It's 873 AD.
Yes.
Norway is crowded because every bandit and their mother is constantly infighting. And so your character, Ivor, he or she, because you can pick the gender and you can customize them, whatever, is like, hey, let's head west, and you sail for England.
Yes.
And the King of England, Alfred the Great, is the main antagonist. And he's all like, oh, these Vikings, they're savages. Let's give them a taste of their own medicine because they're bad. I'm jumping ahead to ruthless Vikings attacked first by peaceful Anglo-Saxons. The joke being that they started it and the Vikings are just here to grow corn.
It's interesting you're playing from the Viking perspective, because whenever I see this time period represented in fiction, it's usually the English who are portrayed in the more positive light.
Right. It is from the Vikings' perspective.
Yeah.
Which is how Assassin's Creed 3 was from the Native American perspective. Much as how Assassin's Creed Unity existed. I don't know. I don't know. So the combat's going to take place in Norway, and then you're going to do the basic sailing. Maybe. That seems a little too early, though.
Although sailing is like pretty core to the Viking experience.
Yeah, but I think if we're following the Assassin's Creed formula, you start the very first thing, and this boggles the mind too. You start an Assassin's Creed game with combat. No, you start it with like a fun stealth sequence, like a rescue mission, and then it goes wrong, and then you do the combat tutorial.
Okay.
But they're sticking with how did Origins begin?
Oh, I think
Does
family.
Bayek, his home gets raided by the Pharaoh?
I think there's like family tragedy afoot.
What is the first button press I should have said?
I don't remember.
Okay. Anyway, Chris, let's talk about maps. So
Sure.
Odyssey is the Aegean Sea, right?
Yeah.
All those Greek islands. How many
Yes.
Greek islands were there?
Easily 10.
Okay, and do you recall Black Flag, how you were sailing around the Caribbean, and there were also islands in the Caribbean, I hear?
There sure are.
Yeah, so how the are they going to do sailing in England? It's literally just a coastline. And if you look at the map of England, you start in like Nottingham, and then you got to go like around the boot of it over to the west side. Sailing from one end to the other, it's just a big landmass.
That's a good call. Are they going to do rivers?
Yeah, well, that's the point of this bingo square is the English coastline is going to be twisted / embellished. There's going to be a bunch of tiny islands that aren't there in real life.
Oh.
To make sailing bearable. Next up, Spartan kick replaced with berserker boots. So this is just a joke on how the emphasis is on combat is so overt. You've heard of the word berserk, right?
Definitely.
It means to be chaotic or something. Berserker is actually from Scandinavian culture, in which they would take off all their clothes and fight each other. That's what a berserker fighter is. I don't think they're going to take off all their clothes in Assassin's Creed, but I think there will be a low-tier combat skill, be it temporary invincibility or a kick to knock down a pikeman's shield. Make of that what you will. There are romance options in Assassin's Creed Valkyrie.
Valhalla?
Valhalla. Sorry, I jumped the gun. I think there are going to be an all-girl Valkyrie squad of Vikings who are girls, because girls can pillage too, and there will be a romance option, and bonus points if they're named Freya.
Okay.
A typical Norse name. So let's talk about raids in this game. Other Assassin's Creed games, you can wage a fight and help the Spartans win or the Athenians win. You're just on the battlefield. You're a soldier.
Right. You're a mercenary.
This game's main conquest element is raids. So I imagine you sail in with an archer's flaming arrow, and then you go and you throw torches onto thatch roofs, and you get the big treasure from the noble's house, and then you control that land, and all your Vikings move, and you can see them building houses and stuff. Vikings also raided monasteries.
Yeah.
Now, how are we going to raid monasteries? Because they were super wealthy historically, but those are just like monks just hanging out.
I don't think they're well guarded.
No. So we need to have a antagonist that is a member of the Anglo-Saxon clergy. I think a Welsh cleric is going to be a big bad, and that makes raiding monasteries A-okay. That's what that square is.
Okay.
The next square, it got spoiled for me. I made this last night, mind you.
Gotcha.
What was your ship called in Odyssey?
The Adrestia.
Yeah. So I thought, like, what's a cool ship name for Ivor's ship? And I was going through Viking ships, and there's, like, the Snick and the Ike, and then I saw Drakkar, and I was like, well, that's going to be it, which means dragon, because they would carve dragons into their ships as sort of like a thing that would scare away monsters. We're talking, like, Nidhogg kind of monsters.
So you actually identified the name of the ship.
It's called Drakkar.
Without knowing.
Yeah. In scrolling my Twitter right before I went to sleep at 8 a.m., if I go to the Twitter, you'll see it's like, fun fact, the Drakkar can be recalled to the coastline if Ivor is near it. And I'm like, I nailed it. It's going to stay on my bingo card because that's an automatic win. I feel really good about it. The captain, however, we don't know the name of the captain. The ship can hold a maximum of 8 people, which makes me think there's not going to be a captain, but there's going to be like some kind of ship steward, the character that you associate with upgrades, and that character is going to be named Svend, which means to serve a purpose or something in Old Norse. Liberal use of the AE conjoined symbol.
What does that mean? It's just like a vowel sound?
You ever see like the word encyclopedia?
Not recently.
That's all over Anglo-Saxon time.
Oh, okay.
So there are going to be, much in the way that everybody in the Greek mythology was like Sophistios, Crocles. There's going to be tons of these AE names.
Fair enough.
Okay, so as we mentioned, the Vikings are a peace-loving people, and the English are bad, according to this game. So there will be a scene in which Ivor scolds a Viking rival for harming English women and children. We saw this kind of in the trailer, because like there's a Viking who's literally about to hatchet some innocent civilians, and your main character is like, no, stop. Get going, you. And then the peasants just walk off. So I'm trying to embellish that there has to be a scene where like women and children actually get hurt, and your main character is like, we are not savages. So that's what that square is. Viking funeral interrupted by ambush. I just imagine that how else can we sell that this English king, Alfred the Great, is a bad dude? He's going to interrupt a Viking funeral, which is also like perfect iconography. How are we not going to have a Viking funeral? Finding Charlemagne's remains. That's just, I love the sound of that. It rolls off the tongue so well. So that's what that's doing. And the rest of these I can skip because you're tired of me. I'll upload this to my Twitter once I fill in the squares. But Chris, do you have any predictions? Because you, being 90 hours in, you can definitely tell me what the late game is going to be. Do you think there's going to be mercenaries in this game? Do you think there's going to be settlement building?
I think it is confirmed there will be settlement building. I think they're going to lean into the mythology aspect. I think you'll like meet some actual Norse gods in the game.
No.
Yeah, that's the Chris prediction.
No.
Ooh, you'll be able to climb the world serpent.
Oh.
You'll be able to do that. You'll also find the world tree Yggdrasil, and you'll be able to scale that, and that'll be a synchronization point on top of Yggdrasil.
Very good. You are definitely contributing to this.
It was funny when this game has been long rumored, the Viking Assassin's Creed game. The whole time leading up to announcement, I kept picturing like the whole thing would take place in Norway, this domestic Viking game, which obviously that would be kind of weird, like to have Vikings just in their homeland when you always think of them being invaders.
Fair enough, yeah.
But yeah, I'm very excited to see the game taking place in Britain.
Yeah, that's partially why this was so hard, because I could think of all these fun Viking things like the funeral and the I didn't put this. Historically inaccurate horned helmets.
I bet the conclusion to one of the quests will be a fight in the middle of Stonehenge.
I thought it was just going to be a synchronization point.
I don't think they're high enough to climb.
No. Old Stonehenge is going to have like another ring around it that's extra big.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, before it got toppled over. Or wait, is the combat sequence going to topple some over? Okay. And there was, the bird's obviously going to be back. I didn't want to dedicate a square to that.
Cool that it's a raven this time, because ravens are associated with Odin. They're like the eyes of Odin, I think.
Point being, I'm very excited for this Assassin's Creed to absolutely trounce. They're going to look to Valhalla and be like, this is how you do Assassin's Creed. That friggin' Odyssey garbage. Leave that in the past.
I see.
I'm so looking forward to this game now.
All right. I need to stretch.
Yeah, you do. Why didn't you just stop me?
So that was a super spicy dish, Heath. Hot, hot, hot. I don't think I can take anymore. So we should probably refresh ourselves with some sides, should we not?
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about the very surprising announcement of Paper Mario and the Origami King?
Yeah, it's funny. It's like we all woke up and lost $60 because it's just out of the blue. I've never played a Paper Mario. I've never played a game that's even like Paper Mario.
Yeah, I think the Paper Mario games mix it up a bit. They're not all identical.
What's the closest Paper Mario that's not Paper Mario? Like Octopath Traveler?
Maybe. Yeah, they're a little RPG-ish. So this one looks cool. I like that it is still keeping with the paper theme, but with the origami aesthetic. It definitely differentiates itself.
That's so smart.
From other Paper Mario games. Princess Peach is actually like a 3D model, but she looks like she's folded paper. It's cool. And it's coming out in July, which I think is the most surprising part. Just because
it's so soon.
It's like a first-party Nintendo game with just 2 months out that we didn't know about previously. Thinking about Nintendo's output over the rest of the year, it was a big question mark. Maybe they didn't even have anything ready. But now that we know they're willing to announce something a mere 2 months in advance, who knows what's waiting for us in October?
No, you can't say that. I think that this was an uncommon occurrence.
You think so?
They're not going to come. Yeah, they're not going to. This is the 2 month away release pipe dream is still just that.
Just that?
This was a who would have thought? I'm almost skeptical of the game now. I'll pick it up if it's like the best in the series. Because otherwise, like, I don't know, Paper Mario is not really jumping at me.
Yeah, definitely it's like the third rung of Mario franchises.
Below Kart and Party.
Yeah.
Odyssey getting dunked on there. Mario Odyssey.
I would put that in the first rung.
I know. That's why I'm saying it's getting dunked on by Party.
Gotcha. So that made me really happy to see. It looks bright and cheerful. Here's just a fun news thing to talk about. Did you hear about this Prince of Persia Redemption?
Recently? No.
Yeah, okay. Prince of Persia, kind of a precursor franchise to Assassin's Creed. You know, it's kind of historical, action adventure-y. I've never played any of them. But this game called Prince of Persia Redemption is a canceled Prince of Persia game that someone uploaded leaked footage of to YouTube 8 years ago and was only discovered in the past couple weeks. This Prince of Persia game that no one knew about except for this leaker. It was a leak that never picked up traction.
Why is it picking up traction now?
There's a question mark around that. Why it took so long to be discovered. Some people think maybe the video had been uploaded as an unlisted video until just very recently for some reason. But it makes you wonder what other leaked game footage is on YouTube just waiting to be discovered.
I get the appeal. It's like if you really cared about a certain IP and you're just looking around and then you watch a video and you're like, what? That's I would have played that. Why? What is that? I've never seen that.
Right. Assuming it has been unlisted this whole time and you could have found it. I imagine the guy who just found it a couple weeks ago, he finds this. It's uploaded in 2011 and it's got 3 views on it. And he's like, what? Why is this?
Yeah.
It's funny.
That is fun.
And I've watched the video. It looks fine.
But you can feel how if there was footage of Kratos meeting Jesus from a canceled spinoff.
Oh.
And it never came to light until today. And everyone's all like, what? Who thought of this?
Yeah.
Why didn't I see this?
Right.
But 2008 Kratos, very,
very angry.
Mm-hmm. Meeting 2008 Jesus. That's there you go.
I have one more side to end with, Heath. So it's May now, and the first quarter of 2020 is in the history books. It's been that way for a little while. And the NPD group, the big...
We're huge fans of the NPD group.
Right. This big statistical company that...
Data analysis.
They track video game spending across the entire industry, specifically in the United States.
Wait, are we huge fans of NPD or
EDAR?
EDAR. I love EDAR.
They're joined at the hip. They're pretty interchangeable.
Are they really?
I think one is part of the other.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, the first quarter of 2020 was the highest grossing video game sales in any first quarter of any year ever. So it was a new record for the first 3 months of a year in spending.
First quarter, typically a slow quarter for sales.
Fairly slow.
Historically.
Yeah. So we're talking January through March here. $10.9 billion was made in the first quarter. That's up 9% over last year.
Wow.
Besides the fact that it's a new record, here's what makes it extra noteworthy, Heath. As we have mentioned previously, there weren't many video game releases of note in January and February. Actually, if you look at the monthly breakdown in the NPDs, in January this year of 2020, video game spending was down 26%. And in February, video game spending was down year over year compared to 2019. It was down 29%. So January and February, it was looking like we had a very dud quarter on our hands, which isn't too alarming. This is the year right before a new console launches, and time again, we've seen as enthusiasm for the current gen dwindles in anticipation for the next one, spending declines.
Yeah.
So this was just par for the course. But then it was the 1-2 punch. March gave us a handful of highly anticipated critically acclaimed games. Animal Crossing, Doom Eternal, Ori and the Will of the Wisps to some extent. Games like that. And the shelter-in-home pandemic was put into effect in those final 2 weeks of March for us in the U.S. And that was enough to make it the best first quarter that ever happened, which is amazing. That in that final 2 weeks, like how much spending happened right then and there to just offset the 2 abysmal months that just happened previously. And it's called out that Nintendo, and Nintendo specifically, is doing the lion's share of the spending is going towards Nintendo products. So they are carrying the other console manufacturers. It makes you wonder if the quarantine going into effect in those final 2 months of March was enough to make that first quarter the best one ever. How much spending is happening in the second quarter that hasn't been accounted for just yet?
Well, yeah. So the ultimate question is like, how is this going to affect spending throughout the rest of the year? And I think it's not.
You think it was an initial tidal wave that then quickly peters out?
I think their additional spending is not going to change their regular spending.
Okay. So you think it's going to be business as usual from here on out?
I'm not thinking that the accountants at Activision are like worried that their fall blockbuster, because fall is the #1 video game release window.
Yeah.
They're not sweating in their Activision boots thinking, oh, everybody spent all their money in March. They're not going to want to shill out for our product when it comes out in November. I think that this is a cool blip on the radar statistically.
Oh, okay.
But people are still going to want their games.
Got it. So it'll be like more or less what you would expect from here on out.
Yeah, and then year over year, which is a phrase you love to say. This is not going to continue.
This was a strange occurrence in the first quarter of 2020.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a pretty reasonable take on it. It'll be a weird push and pull to see how quarter 2 shakes out, just because people are still at home, so maybe they're spending more on games, but there isn't quite the same quantity of new releases we got in March happening in like May this month. Like what's coming out? The Wonderful 101 remaster? That's about it.
That's still the most underrated game for its price point.
Yeah,
according to the people I respect.
I like Platinum Games. They do great work. So that, I hope you're feeling refreshed now, Heath, because we finished all of our sides, and now we're very full.
Mm-hmm. I'm dabbing the napkin from the corners of my mouth.
Yes, I am putting away my used utensils, and the best way for me to digest after a good meal is to listen to some music. So without further ado, we should probably take a break, and when we come back, it'll be time for some Mobius Tunes. See you then.
Chris, I recently tabulated all the results of Mobius Tunes, and this is our 6th round.
It is.
And this is my chance to tie it up.
I see.
You are beating me 3-2.
Got it.
I feel good about my picks.
It's been a little while. Mobius Tunes is our video game music guessing game where Heath and I both select 5 songs we enjoy from various games that have come out over the years, bring them to the show, play them on the air for the other co-hosts to listen to. If they are able to correctly identify what game the song originated from, they score 3 points. Failing to guess correctly will earn you hints, which will make the guessing easier. A correct guess after receiving 1 hint is worth 2 points, while a correct guess after receiving 2 hints is worth only 1 point. The maximum score one can receive is 15 points if they were to guess all 5 songs correctly right off the bat, which is an impossible feat.
What's the highest score we've ever done? 12?
12 seems like the highest, I think.
Yeah.
So we'll see if history is made today. Heath is in the guessing chair first, which means these will be songs I selected for him to guess. I have a theme for these songs, Heath. However, I think if I told you the theme, it would make it too easy.
That's fair enough. I neglected to tell you my theme when it was all Mario in the title.
I think you did tell me, actually. And then
After the second
Oh,
thing.
possibly.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun if you can guess the theme when you're done.
Okay. This is song number 1 from Chris.
Yes.
I immediately thought Halo. Oh.
Give it a second.
Oh, I thought that was Batman to start. Just the strings, kind of? Ooh. I'm in the jungle. Okay. Wait, no, that immediately took me to the Middle East with that oboe kind of thing. All right, so desert. This is your first pick?
This is my first pick. This is my easiest pick.
Chris, oh my God.
This is a song steeped in nostalgia for me. I guess not for you, though.
I mean, immediately coming to mind is Prince of Persia, because you just mentioned it, and this is sort of like that Arabic, you know. This is literally just like textbook desert. What am I supposed to do here? Make my first guess.
Just listen a little bit more.
Okay. Oh, I know what it is.
Do you?
Yeah, as soon as like the xylophones came in. It's Age of Empires, but I'm not sure which one. I'm going to say like Age of Empires Total War. That's not the subtitle, but it's Age of Empires.
This is not
I'm on the right
Empires.
track, obviously.
Okay. So first hint for you, Heath. Not Age of Empires, although it is another Microsoft-associated franchise here. This song composed by Martin O'Donnell for a very prominent prequel game to a well-established franchise.
Oh my God. Chris, you are so unforgiving with your hints. You just said this is made by whoever, Mark O'Donnell.
Marty O'Donnell.
Yeah, McDonald's. He composed a thing for a prequel to a prominent franchise?
Yeah, this is a song he composed for a prequel to a prominent franchise.
Do you know how many prominent franchises there are? What? There's so... Okay. Chris, that goes in the running as one of the worst hints you've ever given me.
Really?
But forgive me. I'm so good at this game. I'll just have to make do.
That hint hinged on you recognizing the name Marty O'Donnell.
Everybody, all the Marty O'Donnell fans in the back, let me hear you. Chris, when we talk about video game composers,
yes,
we talk about T. Lopes, who made the Sonic Manias.
Okay.
And we talk about Hideki Naganuma.
Who?
The Lethal League guy.
That's who we talk about?
The two composers that I talk about, yeah.
Marty O'Donnell's way bigger than him.
Who's Marty O'Donnell? Does he make Pirates of the Caribbean?
No.
All right.
I also said, like Age of Empires, this game is associated with Microsoft. That was a freebie.
Halo doesn't have any prequels. Ooh. We're in the desert. Prequel. So very prominent. That's got Microsoft. Gears of War.
The big M. I didn't know this was going to be this challenging.
Absolutely nothing comes to mind. I'm going to say Prince of Persia.
Okay. I'm afraid not.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have hint number 2.
I don't have hint number 2.
Chris.
This future sci-fi first-person shooter franchise that normally stars Master Chief, this entry does not have him in it.
Oh my God.
because it's a prequel that came out in the year 2010.
There's a Halo game without Master Chief?
And it's not ODST, it's the other one.
Halo Reach.
This is Halo Reach. Marty O'Donnell, you know, the composer of the Halo theme and all the Halo songs.
What? When do they go to the Sahara Desert in space?
I don't necessarily pick up on the Arabic vibes.
What are you talking about? This is a snake coming out of the thing. This is Indiana Jones. He's like on a sand dune.
This is the song that plays on the title menu of Halo Reach, a song.
Who's the main character of Halo Reach?
Noble 6.
Noble 6?
The 6th member of
okay,
Noble
now
Squad.
It's, and why did that glockenspiel make me think Age of Empires?
Within the first 2 seconds of playing the song, you mentioned Halo.
No way.
You did.
I did. I hate myself. All right, Marty O'Donnell, who apparently is the most well-known music composer.
I thought he was pretty well known.
Jesus Christ.
Well, you got 1 point, Heath.
Oh my God.
I spoon-fed it to you, but you got the 1 point.
All right. I can't get to song number 2 fast enough. Do you have hints for this in mind?
I forgot what song number 2 was.
Well, then allow me to jog your memory. Yay! All right. Switch song number 1 to song number 5. Song number 2 to song number 1. This is Into the Breach. This is on the first island. I could probably name the song. This is probably called like Barrage.
I think it's called Antiquity Row. But yes, it is Into the
Yay!
Breach. And yeah, I think we've mentioned before, Into the Breach music, underrated. It's pretty good to just sit there and think on when you're listening to this.
I like the funkier ones from later islands.
Oh, okay.
There are some good tracks on the desert one. There's some good tracks on the very unknown. Like, no one thinks of Into the Breach and thinks of that robotic slime island that, like,
no one does.
It rarely, like, no one. I know the first island intimately. Every train mission, every volatile Vec. The acid bath that is the last island, which you can mitigate by just going to the hive, right?
Yeah.
No one plays that. There are people who've beaten Red Dead Redemption 2 that never touched that.
True, I guess.
I don't know why I'm doing that bit.
The desert island is the one I go to most frequently.
Hey, fun fact. Marty O'Donnell composed a song for the desert island. Allow me to play it for you.
I don't think you need to.
I have 2. Oh, this is...
It's the mashup you always wanted.
Yes! I'm the mashup guy. Listen to this. Why is this so funny? Oh my God. Oh, that was cancer. Anyway. All right. Who composed Into the Breach?
I do not know. Sorry. But you're now up to 4 points, Heath. Because
now it's a game.
You just locked in 3.
Now it's a game. Well, I'm about to lock in another 3 because you have no idea how to appraise the difficulty of these songs. Let's move on right along, everybody. I have 4 points.
You have 4 points.
Here we go. Oh. It's like somebody's selecting an abstract object. Ooh. This is very ringtone-y. Ooh. I'm thinking like puzzle games. I'm thinking cheery, innocuous puzzle games. All right, here's our first guess. Fez?
Okay, yeah. That definitely kind of
That is a cheery,
matches.
Innocuous puzzle game.
That is a cheery, innocuous
Thank
puzzle
you.
game. It is not Fez, however.
All right, fair enough.
I think the game came out the same year as Fez. That's a freebie.
Chris.
The years do nothing for you.
I think the game also used the triple deluxe engine with a low poly razor count. Like, what do you... I'll never not make these jokes because you are a textbook. Maybe if you said like voice actors or other things that my brain connects with.
Yeah. Sorry, I know
if you're
years.
like, oh, it was probably published in syndication with the same developer.
I just know release years very well for some reason.
I mean, granted, that helps you significantly in this line of work. I mean, it's a very bubblegum. I wanted to say. I'm gonna listen to it while you're there.
My second hint is locked and loaded.
Okay.
I just need my first hint.
Fair. I know exactly what you mean. I mean, it's not Crypt and the Necro Dancer. You'd never double up like that. Oh. I'm ready for my second guess.
All right. First hint. This game, very commonly, tragedy can befall your shitmates when they
FTL.
die from lack of oxygen.
FTL.
This is FTL.
Yeah. Ooh.
Faster than light.
Boom!
You knew that before the hint was even coming, didn't you?
No. I was going to say Hyper Light Drifter.
Okay.
But as soon as you said ship, I was like, got him. Yes.
Yeah, so I doubled up on the subset games this episode.
You did.
Yeah.
Those are the developers of Into the Breach and FTL. Yeah. Subset. We love Subset. We hate Marty O'Donnell. I'm at 6 points.
You are at 6 points.
I'm like the Noble Six from that well-known prominent prequel. Motherfucker. Chris. You know that old video of that black man who is catatonic until he gets headphones put on his head and it plays that old-timey music and his hands are like this and his eyes like bug out and he's like, you know the video I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. If I ever go catatonic, all you need to do is put headphones on my head and it'll be like, this is the easiest song. And it'll be like a song I've never heard of. From a game I am not remotely familiar, and I will immediately come alive, much like the black man from that video. Anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, I'll probably put it to Twitter, but that's all I'll say. I love Mobius Tunes. It is my favorite thing. All right, I'm at 6 points.
You are, and song 4 is coming up right now.
Okay, wait. Before I go on, what does he think the theme is?
Yeah.
We had Halo, Into the Breach, FTL. I was going to say space until Into the Breach. Yeah, well, hopefully, song number 4 will make it interesting. Ba ba da ba ba. Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis.
Where do you think this song would be playing in the game, Heath?
Oh, this is like the waiting room lobby. This is the main menu. This is options. This is calibrate your brightness. Oh, you're gonna do it to me, aren't you? How many times have I mentioned res and it's not res? I'm waiting for like a late 90s instrument to be played. I'm not even sure if res is from the late 90s.
I think it is.
But I'm waiting for like one more instrument to be a dead giveaway. That was not a dead giveaway. Well, it's not res, because you don't care about that game.
But I know you love guessing it.
No. You're not that kind of mastermind. I mean, this is, all I'm doing is I'm in the settings the whole time. And this is a upbeat song. I mean, definitely it fits the theme now that I've heard FTL and
Into the Breach.
All right, let's go with... Oh my god, I can't Rez. Let's go with final answer.
I'm sorry, Heath.
Yeah.
It is not
I don't
Rez this
don't put
time.
it past you. Look at when the episode came alive. I'm peeping. Sorry. Okay.
You ready for your first hint?
I am, please.
So, unfortunately, this is not settings music. This music plays in a nightclub where you hang out with various alien species.
Mass Effect. It's gotta be Mass Effect. That's the only game with a nightclub where the aliens all look the same. They're all kind of blue and romance options. What rhymes with options? Surely, when you think of going out on the town in the solar system, this is gonna be. And it sounded antiquated a little bit, so let's go Mass Effect 1.
You got specific.
Yeah. One would say 2 specific.
One might say 2 specific.
Oops. Damn.
This
All right.
this hint number 2
This
is
sequel.
this sequel, but not not
more
the
than that.
but not the conclusion to a trilogy. Is
Damn.
my favorite game in the Mass Effect
Oh, is it really?
trilogy.
Yeah, well, I could see why. Yay! Mass Effect 2.
Mass Effect 2. This is takes place early in the game in Club Afterlife. This was the song I would bust out late at night when doing AP physics homework. This is my go-to.
Calculating, doing circuits.
Doing some circuits, doing some kinematics equations. This is my jam right here. Okay. So you picked up 1 point there. You're up to 7 with 1 song to go. The hardest.
What's my track record on the last songs of yours? I've never aced one.
I don't think so. You were close. You aced Night in the Woods when it was song number 4, which blew my mind.
Mm-hmm. As we all fondly remember. Song number 5. What's the theme? They're all like Into the Breach is not space. Halo is space. FTL is space. Mass Effect space. Oh, aliens. Into the Breach is aliens, but they're bugs. So it's aliens. I got it. I nailed it. Which is why this next song will be from XCOM. You all remember that mini boss in XCOM who breaks out the harpsichord? This is awful for the podcast because I'm not talking, but I'm just trying to listen to the lyrics. He says, "No more Queen." This is so contemporary, it hurts. A Supergiant game.
Although they do like their harpsichords.
They do love harpsichords and vocalists, but this is too festive. Watch this be like a random song in your digital copy of Hive. This is Queen. That's a Queen insect joke there.
That was for me and only me.
Only you. All right. It's not like this is a song that sounds like anything else, but we already harnessed the theme, which is aliens. So this is like a Queen alien. What games have a Queen alien and a Dropkick Murphy tone?
Just so you know, the theme I envisioned when I cobbled this together was science fiction games.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But there has been that alien through line so far. You're correct.
I was trying to be too specific.
Yeah, a little more broad.
Okay. No more Queen. Who's the Queen? You gotta think. There's like a queen. There's like a bug queen.
Could it be Earth Defense Force?
I was gonna say the only way is Earth Defense Force. I don't want to say Supergiant. I don't want to say Prey. I'm just gonna go with. And Banner Saga would be too sad.
Banner Saga would be sad.
Okay. This is a strategy game.
Ooh.
No way. No way. You would never.
No.
You would never.
Absolutely not.
I've never heard of any songs from Thronebreaker. But is this Thronebreaker?
That's a good guess, kind of. You know,
Queen Maeve.
Sounds a little old-timey, has queens everywhere.
They would never have vocalists if it's unless it's like a witch singing.
Right. Yeah, this is not Thronebreaker.
I like how you said right.
So, moving on. This is a strategy game, Heath. This one stars a gang of robots in this shared universe steampunk aesthetic. Other games also exist in.
The first part of that. Sorry, this is
It's a strategy game.
Robots.
Band of robots taking place in this steampunk world that other games, besides this one, also share. There are at least 4 entries in this shared universe.
Shared universe. Why are you saying shared universe and not like series or franchise? It's gotta be disjointed, which is super weird. What's a single thing? Universe that multiple games pull from. Wow. Okay, well I can't dwell on it too hard. This is a lot of character to this song. It's like a monarchy steampunk kind of thing. Dishonored is like whale punk. It's not steampunk, is it?
People usually do call it whale punk.
Okay, so Chris said. Damn. Do you like this game?
I like it quite a bit. I played it.
When would you ever hear this? If not a credit sequence. Here's my guess. I'm just picking consonants and waiting for your reaction. Damn, Chris. I'm Band of Robots. Portal. No. I wouldn't throw in the towel that hard.
I mean, at least that game does have a band of robots in it.
Chris. And you like it too. Bastion. I don't have a guess.
That's okay, Heath.
It's like not Supergiant-y.
It is not Bastion. Final hint. One of the games that take place in this universe is called SteamWorld Dig.
So the world is SteamWorld?
Yes.
And that's just like a spin-off digging minigame. SteamWorld. Chris thought a tier 2 hint worthy of that SteamWorld.
I'm guessing you have never
Chris,
heard of the SteamWorld games.
The SteamWorld?
Yeah.
Is this like Psychonauts or what? SteamWorld? You say that like it's fresh.
Yeah, it's fresh.
Okay. So one is called SteamWorld Dig. Is there another one that, in your opinion, is a dead giveaway that you didn't do? Like SteamWorld Andromeda. Like, is there just like
SteamWorld Dig was the most recognizable.
Christ alive, Chris. Are we doing wavelength after this? Because we could not be on further wavelengths.
You don't know the SteamWorld games?
SteamWorld, everyone's favorite SteamWorld characters, like Marty McDonald. Okay.
A SteamWorld game came out just last year.
The answer is called SteamWorld.
Blank, yeah.
This is my first time hearing SteamWorld.
It's funny you predicted this fifth and final song would be from XCOM, because this game is called the XCOM of the SteamWorld franchise.
Okay.
You're just trying to think of the right word here.
This is, Chris, like, there's a sculpture. There's a sculpture in Minneapolis. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's a big sculpture in Minneapolis. It's a big spoon with a cherry at the end of it. And that spoon is not even big enough for Chris to spoon feed me this answer. I have no idea what SteamWorld even looks like. And you want me to come up with the title of the installment in which a band of robots teams up against a queen-like thing, and they gotta do XCOM style gameplay, and it's in the shared universe. I'm gonna go with SteamWorld Royale.
Could have been further off. This game in question is called SteamWorld Heist. Came out in 2015. Most people.
Oh, it's Spelunker.
Yeah, it is a 2D perspective, turn-based. You'd bring a squad of robots, of which you have a larger party, and you clear out the enemy force, usually. SteamWorld Dig is probably more well-known. It got a sequel as well, SteamWorld Dig 2, which was critically acclaimed when it came out a couple years ago. There's also the red-haired stepchild of the SteamWorld franchise, SteamWorld Quest, which is a strategic card-playing game, not unlike Thronebreaker. So yeah, SteamWorld, it's really good and charming, and I've only played Heist so far, but I would like to get to the other ones as well. The Dig sub-franchise are more like Metroidvanias.
Cool. I mean, not cool, because this is abominable.
You've never heard of them?
No, Chris. Chris, this is like, when did this come out? Recently, obviously?
Heist was 2015.
Okay, well...
I think this is just your ignorance, Heath.
Wow.
Like,
oh my
look,
gosh.
When SteamWorld Heist was ported to the Switch, it was scored a 91 on Metacritic.
Fair enough. I don't doubt that it's a well-made game, but as far as like the collective conscious that is video games, you picked a Neptune.
Well, it was my hard pick.
Yes, and I have too come up with very hard picks and made the hints not just... It was released in spring of 2012. I mean, what was my score?
If you were to give me a hint like that, I would be laser focused on it.
You would, yeah.
So you had 6, then you had 6 after 3. And then song number 4 was Mass Effect, which you picked up 1 point on, and then you got nothing. So I think you ended at 7.
All right, can't be mad. I mean, I am inside all the time, but cool. Okay, time to die. All right, ready, Chris?
Ready.
All right. So Chris's theme was
science fiction game.
Gosh, you could have just said video game. My Heath's theme. It's for the love of bass.
Oh, interesting.
Starting at number 1.
Can't wait. Oh, yeah.
Who loves bass? Everybody.
Oh my God. This is Life Goes On, correct?
Correct.
So this is from Persona 5.
Yeah.
This is the song. Oh, here's the drop. This is the song that plays when you take your midterms.
Yeah. Another great studying song.
Right.
I use this as the credit sequence for one of my films.
I mean, like in game, this plays during midterms. Yeah.
I like how they gamified school.
It is
like curricularly, not just social life.
Right. Yeah. It's all encompassing.
Don't you have to know like a certain author?
Yes. It's like a trivia minigame.
All right. So that was 3 points for Chris.
Generous.
That's how you do easiest song.
Halo Reach is like a cultural touchstone.
The ugly stepchild.
A cultural touchstone for our generation.
Okay, but it's not ba ba da 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 da. All right, for our generation?
Yeah. We were 14 when that came out.
Song number 2.
Y'all ready to get funky?
Okay.
Part of dance is music.
This has got to be like a game with a contemporary setting, right? I think so.
But that was too soft.
The vocals are interesting in here. Oh, it's really picking up now. I'm liking it more and more as it gets funkier. Okay. Nothing is coming to me in forms of a guess, but I'm going to say Grand Theft Auto 4.
Is incorrect. A little too
Upbeat.
disc jockey for Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Also, Grand Theft Auto 4 is like the gray one.
Yeah, it is pretty gray. Disc jockey, you say. Could this be DJ Hero?
Your first hint is I name dropped the artist already, Hideki Naganuma. This is a return of the guy who made Ain't Nothing Like a Funky Beat from League the League.
Oh, okay. So I feed you a composer you don't know. You
And
give
then-
me a composer.
Oh my god,
I don't know.
I'm such a hypocrite, but I don't care.
All right. Lethal League is a pretty niche indie game, which means if the composer is sticking to that line of work, this is another kind of niche indie game. Maybe. Maybe a fighting game? This has got to be Guilty Gear.
Incorrect. That's an anime game, isn't it?
It's an anime-style fighting game, yeah.
Okay. The title of this game, it's a rhyming couplet, an appliance,
This is like
a sound-making
this
appliance.
is like Progeny of Not Dark
It
all
sure
over again.
is. I got nothing better because like this game, I more catered to the theme than I did the difficulty hierarchy.
I see. No problem. I think it's Jet Set Radio.
Yay!
I got there. Appliance was helpful.
Whew. Whew. Is everybody still listening?
All right. I picked up 1 point from that. Is that the original Jet Set Radio that it's from?
Yeah, I mean, okay, here's the bit of trivia. It was originally called Jet Set Grind in the States,
Oh.
but it got changed to Jet Set Radio because it was more popular.
Got it.
So that's 4 points?
I am up to 4. Same as you were, although in reverse order.
Let's listen to this.
Sounds like some percussion going on. Ooh. There's that bass you're so fond of. Ooh. Yeah, yours do adhere to a certain theme. Now it's going. Okay. Definitely don't recognize this. Not even
Neither
close.
did I. No.
Oh, okay. Were you seeking out songs that were bassy
Yes.
and then matching them back to a game?
Yeah.
Okay. I always work from a game and then find a song.
But the show it's about music.
Yeah. I'm not saying your method is invalid or anything, just that I do it a different way. I'm going to say this is... It almost sounds industrial. What's an industrial game? This is Sleeping Dogs.
Ooh, very good guess. Not for genre, but actually, okay, might not be a good guess.
No, not
the
at all.
The music in Sleeping Dogs is like you got a generic, and then with a hint of traditional Asian. Your first hint, I have a great hint for this one.
All right.
Much like the first song that I played for you, this game also features masked thieves.
Oh. Another heist game. Much like SteamWorld Heist.
Is there actually a Steam World Heist?
That was my 5th game.
It was called
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
It was
Much
not,
like the series itself, it just erased from my memory.
Yeah, it was not actually called Steam
I
World
thought
Rollout.
Quest and Dig. That's all I
Yeah.
could remember.
So, Masked Thieves. Well, I'm thinking like thieves, robbery, Grand Theft Auto, but
It's not Grand Theft Auto.
okay. Thanks. What games do you steal things in? As ridiculous as it may sound, this is Sly Cooper.
Tell everybody what Sly Cooper is.
He's a cartoon raccoon,
He's like a, yeah.
and he has 2 comrades. One's a hippopotamus and one's a turtle.
I think I would have played Sly Cooper if it had music as like funky as this.
They have masks on though.
They do. No, this is a little more mature
Yeah, I could see that.
than the Sly Cooper raccoon audience. Your last hint, the title. I have lost all creativity at this point. The title is a one-word that means the particular time of the week at which you receive compensation.
Okay, this is Payday.
Yay!
You could not have given me a more generous hint than that.
Mother of God. All right.
So that's the bank heist game.
That song's called Phony Money. Phony spelled like a phone.
Got it.
Are we enjoying this theme yet?
I'm enjoying it.
Well, here's a song that I really enjoy.
Okay.
So you should enjoy it too.
I kind of feel like I'm in a jungle right now, much like the Halo Reach song did to you before you went to the desert.
Before I went to the desert.
This actually sounds kind of familiar. Ooh, yeah, I do like this song. Very uplifting.
Right?
This is
This has got to be training into something.
yeah, training, kind of a montage going on, or the hero just triumphed over his long-standing rival. Oh. I want to say this is Sonic 06.
Ooh. What does the music from Sonic 06 sound like?
I've never heard it.
I think it's definitely like some guitars.
Yeah, the
And
guitars.
some like live and learn, you know.
Yeah,
Although that's not from that game.
I don't think so.
Moving around at the speed of sound? I don't think so. Your first hint for this one is arguably my favorite Pokemon game.
This is your favorite Pokemon game. Which Pokemon games has Heath played? He's a...
That's a narrow list, though.
Yeah. But
And
he
it's
makes-
not chiptune.
It's not. No, it's more orchestral. So it's probably on the DS?
Wait, DS games are also kind of chiptune, aren't they?
Are they?
It's a handheld. Handhelds are just like
They don't...
weaker
all,
overall.
They don't all have to be chiptune.
No, but console games have full
All right, so
music and sound.
What I'm gathering here is this is on console. What bastardized Pokemon game did Heath play on console? What Nintendo consoles did he have, though? Is he
I've only had
a Wii?
3 in my life.
It's not on the Switch. He did not play Pokemon Sword or Shield. Oh. Is it Pokemon Coliseum?
Yes, it is.
Yay.
This is semi-final battle on Mount Battle.
What was the third song you played?
Payday.
Okay, I got 1 point off of that, which put me at 5, and I got 2 points off of this, which puts me at 7. So I'm tied with
We're all
you.
tied up. You just have to die on this last song.
If I die, it's a draw.
Here we go. This is okay. This is a song that has like 3 versions,
Okay.
and so I stitched them together.
Okay. This is the Heath special.
Yeah. For the win.
Okay. Just building up so far. Your songs were very funky this time.
Let's all got bases in them.
How much work was it to stitch these together?
It's just 3 clips, so.
Okay. This is...
When would this play?
This would be playing... You're not in combat, but you're in between combat. Just walking around like a hub world or something.
I can hear that. Especially that first part of the song.
This doesn't have too much of a progression to it so far.
Oh, say that one more time. Like right now. Say it.
Doesn't have much of a progression to it. Oh. All right, now we're getting somewhere.
That was it.
This is from Spyro the Dragon.
Oh, buddy. Buddy, do you want to take a break? What's up? What's up? Spyro the Dragon.
Some
You
songs...
know, like, that's the Amanda Show, Witch's Peak.
Wizard's Peak.
It's like kind of quirky, like ukulele kind of
You'd be surprised. I can find some
boingo
funky...
boingo.
I can find some funky Spyro songs for you.
Ooh, I defy you to do that.
Maybe I'll bring some on a future episode.
Your first hint. This game was ceremoniously brought back to life in the most recent EVO 2020 selections.
I thought EVO 2020 was canceled.
It was, but this was going to be among them, and I got very excited.
Okay, so this is from a fighting game. How surprised was Heath's expression earlier when I said Guilty Gear? Was I premature on my guess? And he was actually saving Guilty Gear for his 5th song.
Guilty Gear is kind of like a modern game, though.
Yeah.
This was brought back to life.
Back to life. Okay, so it's old. This is probably like character select screen. I'm going to say Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
Have you played that game?
Maybe
I
for
know
like
you haven't.
5 minutes.
Oh, yeah? Really?
Yeah.
Oh. That's another Microsoft title.
It is.
We got Marty on that. No, Chris, this is not Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct is probably more like rock and gong.
Yeah.
A genre I just invented.
Well, it's all set to succeed, I think.
All right, let's close this out. Chris, I was excited about this game being brought to EVO, and I capstoned my excitement with a slogan, "When's Marvel, baby?"
Oh. So it's just a matter of which Marvel vs. Capcom game is it, and I think, just going on my gut, this has got to be Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Yes! Yes!
Yay!
Did it!
Right at the end.
Oh, we did it.
Got a point.
No, okay, so you were like character selection, right?
Yeah.
You know what the character select song from Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was, right?
Oh, have you already brought it?
It's like, I'm gonna take you for a ride.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
That one. That loop.
Gotcha.
Yay! You got 9 points.
I think I got 8.
8 points. Just barely clinching victory.
yeah.
Why were they so difficult this round? Are we losing touch?
Well, I think it has to do with the fact that we are now scraping the bottom of the barrel for songs we want to play on the podcast.
Yep. I have another gimmicky theme that I'm gonna do. All right, well, if I say it right now, I might not do it. But like the next Mobius Tunes is so far in the future, I gotta divulge it here. The theme was going to be Wild West and not feature any Red Dead songs.
That would be
and you would
impressive.
Constantly be like,
Yeah.
"This is Red Dead. This had to be Red Dead."
Yeah, I totally
And
would.
I would bankrupt you that way.
I would throw out a hint for Gunslinger game.
Like
Call of Juarez
Juarez?
Gunslinger.
Oh my
I'd be guessing
God.
that.
Dude, how beneficial for Call of Juarez to be so close to Call of Duty. That is the only reason we are familiar with that franchise. It's because, like, alphabetically, it would be right below Call of Duty.
I think Call of Juarez Gunslinger is pretty fun, actually.
You what? What?
Yeah.
You were the first, Chris. What?
No, here's the thing, Heath. There are bad Call of Juarez games.
Yeah.
And then there's
There's the ones titled
Gunslinger.
Call of Juarez.
Fill in-
Everything.
No, Gunslinger is good.
You were the first person to like Call of Juarez.
It's told from a
unreliable narrator.
unreliable narrator's perspective.
Who's like, I was a hero.
And at the very beginning, you walk into a bar to hear the story, and I think Teddy Roosevelt is in the bar with you, but a young Teddy Roosevelt.
Rough ride in Texas, kind of.
And he's just listening into this story.
Uh-huh.
And then you play a pretty fun first-person arcadey shooter.
Chris, that is insane.
Look up
Call
some
of
video.
Juarez is a joke video game. It's like Cabela's.
Look up some Gunslinger reviews. I think you'll be surprised.
No, I can't even
They'll
fathom.
say like you feel like a cowboy.
Like the Batman meme. Yeah. It really makes you feel like a cowboy. Wow, Chris. All right, what's our time? It's 2 hours, right?
We're
in 2:45.
Holy
I mean,
cow! Okay,
that'll be two. It won't be 2:45 in this time.
but we had to go all out for episode 40, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we did. And this has been Mobius Tubes. I hope you enjoyed it. We don't always get emails, but we love getting them when we do. And you can write to us at mobiustubespodcast@gmail.com.
Please write in if you are a video game composer and your name is Marty McDonald. O'Donnell. And you made one of the best first-person shooters of the mid-2010s. And your name is besmirched on this online multimedia package. I would love to hear from you at mobiustubespodcast@gmail.com.
And we'll come back next week. All I've been talking about lately is like Assassin's Creed.
But that's
and
our moneymaker.
that's our moneymaker?
Literally, so there was the artist Pink Guy?
I think so.
You've heard of Filthy Frank, obviously.
Yes. Yeah.
So there was this radio station that reacted to one of his albums, and they were like, "Oh, who is this guy?" And Filthy Frank is filthy, so they were like, "Why is this so popular? Oh, he's not even good. This track is good. This track is hot garbage." And so they were hypercritical and scrutinizing the more memey part of his album. It became their most viewed video on their channel. And so they totally pivoted and became Pink Guy shills. And they listened to like the predecessor album and reacted to it. They know like all the lyrics and they did a total face turn 180. So what I'm trying to say is, what am I trying to say?
That we're going to pivot and just bash Assassin's Creed.
We need Assassin's Creed. It was the thing that like we wrote in on and was like, oh, it's a good franchise. And now we're just I adore it. What else do I like more than that? Space Steam World. That's what it is.
All right. So look forward to maybe the return of Assassin's Creed next week. Maybe not. I'm still kind of sick of it.
I will boot. You know what I was going to mention is the only way that you could get me to reinstall Assassin's Creed Odyssey is if you programmed me into a user-generated storyline. And I think that we have some listeners who are talented enough. I wouldn't be able to do that unless I like really broke it down. But I'm pretty sure you could probably stitch together some voice lines, and I will lend my talents to my own little homage only if Chris is also there. He is also a character in the quest line.
Here's a proposal, Heath. We've got this in the background here, this video game fantasy publisher draft just going on all year round. What if the loser must make a AC Odyssey user-generated quest to commemorate the victor in AC Odyssey for all time?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Let's.
So perfect. The loser of the publisher draft has to write and program an AC Odyssey story quest.
Yeah.
And the winner gets to play it.
Right.
Fantastic.
Man, this publisher draft just got a lot more fun.
Yeah. When did I say we would come up with the punishment for the publisher draft?
You said it was like April.
We'll come up with it April. I missed it by a month, but we nailed it. I'm so happy.
Lock that in stone.
Oh, please. Please, Windjammers. Be a 10 out of 10. Yay. Okay. What a great note to end the podcast on. We gotta
What if Heath, at the very end of the year, we're all tied up and we're just waiting for your last game to come out, and it's AC Valhalla. And that is the determining factor on who wins.
And it turns out to be another boring, design by committee, unprincipled, loveless game. And I'm like, no! On top of having to make this, I have to install both.
Just dumping salt in the wound.
I literally just, I hidden blade myself.
Yes.
All right, end it here. This is a perfect note.
All right. See you on the next episode.
You got bored of the bingo card.
You were elaborating more than I thought on each one.
It was, oh my gosh. I spent time trying to be as specific as possible.
You got to do the good ones.
Like, same-sex Viking rival gifts you an axe. If that's on the money, it's the biggest send-off. But you were like, we can speed it up.
If you upload the image, we can link to it in the show notes.
Okay, and to that extent, I just link to everything else. Why don't we just link to
the podcast
spicy
episode?
News. I thought it was good. And it wasn't even finished. It was like half of a bingo card. And you were still like giving me the wrap-it-ups.
I think it went on long.
Chris, what would have saved it?
What were you going to say about Ivor's mentor?
That he's going to be like not special. And he's just going to be like an English hermit. That it's just kind of a rag on how Assassin's Creed doesn't really do a whole lot for like the mentor. And how I wish it were something more meaningful, but it's really just gonna be like shadowy figure shows up, leaves a feather on his doorstep, and it's like, oh, you're the chosen one. You know, just like I doubt it was gonna be that. And he's just gonna be like a hermit, and just, you know. So that's what it was gonna be. You telling me that there's no joke to be had there?
I'm sorry.
I indulged the news change up.
Sure. It didn't change that.
But this was poison?
It was just long. We're getting into Heath's road trip territory.
I can't believe you're not backing down. It's not Heath's road trip. It's pertinent. And we...
All right, you know what?
And more than we, like, hinted at it in the previous episode.
You
knew it was coming?
We will ask 3 impartial people. Nate, Justin, and my mom. And I will say, would you have liked to see more predictions or What question do you think we should pose?
Was Heath's AC Valhalla bingo card long-winded?
Okay. We will ask that verbatim.
And they will say, well, it's just Heath doing what he does best. Stream of consciousness at an angry god. So if you don't have a taste for that...
3 of 3 will say
skip,
yes.
Skip.
3 of 3 will say it was long-winded.
Wow. Chris.
If one of them says they wanted more, I will concede on every point.
Oh my god. You just want me to play games and like them.
Could I get my flash drive back?
You came over at like noon 30.
Yeah.
It's 4.
Yes. Which is why I thought some segments were going on too long.
Chris, it was as long as it needed to be a fully formed segment. You complained I made things too quick.